I have built 50 plus AI agents and automations over the last 5 years, worked with 200 plus clients, and have made 6 figures building and selling apps. This would not have been possible without my AI powered coding workflow that allows me, a one-person army, to build apps really fast. So in this video, I'm going to reveal my AI coding flow, what AI tools I use, and how I use AI to build apps really fast so that you can start building and launching apps within days. Now, before we get to how I use AI for the actual building of the app, how do I even come up with an app idea or even a design? Because I'm definitely no artist. So let's start off with the idea. When it comes to brainstorming ideas, I use ChatGPT to help guide me in my thoughts. It's honestly pretty reliable and it can do hours worth of web surfing for you in just minutes. After all, when you are researching on the web, it's pretty easy to get distracted in the YouTube Shorts funnel. So the process looks like this. I start with figuring out what industry do I want to build an app for. Real estate, law, fashion, what really speaks to me. I then ask ChatGPT about problems in the said industry and then pick a couple of the problems that ChatGPT lists. After that, I ask you to find some app ideas revolving around these problems. If I don't like the final results of whatever app idea ChatGPT gives me, I'll repeat this exact same process with other industries. And if I still don't like any of the ideas, I just play video games and let an idea come to me. I'm just being honest. Okay, so once I have the idea, there's one last thing I do that saves me months worth of wasted effort: market validation. My approach is a little bit unique. I try to find apps like the one that I want to build. In other words, if I find similar apps that have a strong customer base and are making good revenue per month, I know that there is a strong market for my app, because if there was not, these apps would not exist and they would not be doing as well as they are. I'm not trying to invent, my goal is innovation. Once I have validated that a market exists for the app, the next part is a UI layer. A huge part of your app is the look of it. What are the visuals that are going to stick out on a landing page? Your users will see your app before they download it. So if they don't like what they see, what makes you think that they will actually download the app and maybe even pay for it? It's kind of like dating, but in this case, personality doesn't matter. Does it ever? Now, I suck with UI design. I always have. I can only make basic looking UIs. I usually just use a paper and pencil and make some sort of sketch. But now with AI, things have changed. I now only use AI to build front ends of my AI apps and agents. Lovable AI has been my favorite, but I've also used Bolt and found success with it. To create a fire UI, I look at all the similar apps to that of my app that I originally found when I was doing market validation. And then I pick out some of the best parts of each app. Like maybe one app might have a great dashboard while another might have a great community tab. I take screenshots of what I like and I then feed it to Lovable AI. I also clearly tell Lovable to use Shad CDN components, which are very modern and clean. I also specify the tech stack that I use, which is Next.js, Supabase, and Stripe for payment processing. You want to build modern looking UIs in 2025. Please don't make your app look like it's from 1977. With the reference material and clear statements telling Lovable to prioritize modern design, I let the AI work its magic, and boy oh boy does it work. I have seen phenomenal UIs built with Lovable in just minutes. Here's a pretty fire UI for my AI sound app that I cover in this video. Clean, modern, and gets the job done. With the UI made, it's time to build out the back end of the app. Lovable does a great job building out Supabase authentication, Stripe integrations, and basic UI functionality, but as a software engineer, I like having control of the backend. AIs like Lovable are still limited on building out core functionalities and processes of apps and AI agents. Now, at first, I was like every other developer and I used Visual Studio Code with zero AI integrations. I did not use Copilot. I did not use Cursor. I didn't even hear about what Windsurf was. Ideating, designing, and building apps would take me over a month to do. Like, I'm not kidding, a literal month. There was no AI helping me. It was literally just me, and I would get demotivated very quickly. And this was my worst mistake. I was not using AI to help me code. But then one YouTube video from Cursor's YouTube channel changed my coding workflow forever. I started on the free plan of Cursor, which is more than enough for a lot of developers, and the rest was history. Now, before I reveal how I build out my app's entire system design, I have 2 strong recommendations for anyone using Cursor. First is when you are asking the AI for help, do not make new chats. Use the same chat. Here's an analogy for you to understand why. Imagine telling a story, but every sentence you have to speak to someone else. Each of those people will have no idea what the story is about since they only heard one line each from it. So you want to treat your AI chats the same way. The more you talk in a single chat, the more the AI will understand your situation, code base, problems, and you will be able to easily conversate with the AI. And more importantly, it'll understand everything you're saying because it's been following your story this whole time. So by training Cursor AI throughout the coding work session, it's able to basically become a 200 IQ code developer companion. The second recommendation is to leverage Cursor rules, both for user and project. User rules are the rules Cursor will follow for all code bases you own. So as you build more and more apps, the same user rules will apply to each of them. Through the user rules, you can train Cursor to code in your style with your tendencies across all your apps. This consistency will make your code easier to understand for yourself and for anyone else if you ever want a second opinion for your app or an extra pair of eyes. If you can't read your code, they definitely can. And now comes the project rules. The project rules are specific to a code base stored in the .cursor rules directory. These are even more important in my opinion than the user rules, and here are 3 reasons why. First, you can provide Cursor's AI agent context on the code base, such as the app that is being made. This will improve Cursor's recommendation engine for code generation. Secondly, you can let Cursor know if you want features written in a specific language so that code is consistent across the code base. You don't want JavaScript files mixed with TypeScript files. And lastly, clearly defined project rules minimize technical debt. Technical debt is a term in the tech industry used to describe work needed to improve code quality and efficiency. The less technical debt your project has, the less messy it will be and the more scalable it will become. You don't want to get lost in the sauce when your app goes from 10 users to 1,000 users overnight because you decided to write some ass code. With these Cursor AI standards, you'll be able to use Cursor in the most efficient and helpful manner possible. I define my rules right from the get-go before I write my first line of code. Now, recommendations are cool, but here's where the real magic of my AI coding workflow comes in. I use Cursor's MCP support heavily. Now, you might be wondering, what is MCP? MCP is Model Context Protocol, which is how different AI agents can communicate and help each other. Yeah, it's like some matrix shit for real. With Cursor's Model Context Protocol, you can have Cursor call on other AI agents or workflows you have created on Claude, N8N, and more. This is great because Cursor can call upon other AI agents if needed and integrate them into your code base. This might sound a little confusing, so let me give you a real example of how I use MCP with my Cursor. I built a ton of AI automations on N8N. One automation I built was this email agent that sorts my Gmail inbox. I was developing an app that had a function to sort my Gmail inbox. Cursor could use MCP to call upon the N8N workflow to go sort my inbox. I won't have to rewrite any code to do that because I already have an agent built on N8N that does it for me. So Cursor just asks that agent, hey, can you do what you're supposed to do? Now, this is absolutely powerful and nuts because as you build more and more apps and workflows, you can start having them talk to each other and use each other when needed. It's like building your own AI agent army. This has saved me a ton of time when building apps, and I know it will save you time too. Now that you know Cursor rules and MCP, how do I go about actually building the core, database, and payment integrations in the app? For most of the core backend functionalities, I'm coding on Cursor, using the autocomplete and asking Cursor's AI agent to complete most of the coding work for me. I'm being honest, not being lazy, it's called being smart. And Cursor is able to do a pretty good job of this because I added Cursor rules and I'm leveraging MCP to get this work done faster. So what's really left is database design and payment integration. Remember, Lovable does a great job of setting up 90% of your Supabase and Stripe integrations, but the remaining 10% is up to you. Any database queries, changes, updates within my app's database are all handled by Cursor directly interacting with Supabase through MCP. Again, I barely have to do anything myself because of the MCP that Cursor has. For Stripe, I literally just tie up all the loose ends myself because I have pretty good experience with adding Stripe to apps since I have used it so much. I have it in my Shift Booking AI agent, Instagram DM agent, and also had it in my web story SaaS. Now with the UI, database, payment integration, core functionalities built out, my app is complete and ready to deploy. Thanks to the app being in Next.js, I can use Versatile pretty easily for deployment. That too for free. If you want to see me build and sell an app from scratch using just AI, no code, check this video out next.